Thank you very much for joining us. We are today talking about cloud in the COVID era. We have a whole new concept of what disruption means today. We have a complete change in how workforces are operating, and we have much shorter timelines. Things have changed, and essentially we're lucky where we are, but now we have a lot more to do. And if we're really honest about it, what we're doing today is going to determine the future of our companies for the next 5-10 years, maybe even more.
But if you actually look at the context of where we are today, there's a lot of automation and sort of autonomous operations that we are now seeing being embedded in the cloud. And what this has now done is it's made it much easier. It has taken away a lot of effort from the consumer in managing this estate. It has made the systems more robust because it's more automated and there's less space for errors to creep in.
The pandemic, it did lead to quite a bit of urgency with regards to most of the end users, because at that stage, if we look back in April, it was now a matter of survival and business continuity, right? So companies, they had to make, given that they had such a short window from the time when the lockdown was announced to when it was actually enforced, most companies had a short window period in making sure that, all their employees are prepared to working from home and operating remotely.
We were quickly able to organize and be able to issue even more laptops for the users that were not able to get laptops. And we're able to get quite a good coverage in terms of access to our system. But we achieved that at a cost.
The main issue that I see in the whole of this is that one had to deal with a lot of mindset change, because we work in the technology space, so it's very easy for us to understand the dynamics and changes that happen. But the ordinary user is not in the same league in terms of the changes, because they are used to working in a specific way.
Instead of having this, breathe down your neck sort of culture, we need to start instilling a culture of trust. Because while we don't see our staff, they're out there in their homes, their lounges, their studies, etc., trying to do their tasks and their responsibilities, I think trust is going to be the key issue that's going to, lead the way forward. Yes, we protect the perimeter. Yes, we protect our devices. Yes, we protect our databases. Yes, we protect our data centers. But how do we take care of the human element? And I think that's where trust built into our cultures and the way we're going to move forward has to be built into the new business models of the future.
Firstly, from an endpoint perspective, database encryption, all of the technical things, but there's also an element of data sovereignty, and then also the risks you incur by moving it to data centers outside of the operating company. So I think security and governance span a number of layers, and I think how you tackle those definitely influences your architecture and infrastructure decisions. It's becoming less of a concern because a lot of the services we consume these days are cloud-based.
What are service providers doing to instill confidence? I think there's a lot to be done, really. So the kind of questions that I would postulate for the service providers are, what sort of help are you providing for me to help provide that security for my customers?
When we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, and maybe in government or in authorities or everybody, even the technology players, I think what it brings about is that we need to start looking at having access to the internet as a basic services, a basic need. I think those who are involved with policymakers, if we really want to ride in the wave of the fourth industrial and move to the fifth, we must make access to the internet or access to data part of the basic services.
Students are saying data must fall, but I think us as professionals, we also need to say data must fall, because like when you go to other African countries, I'm not talking about first world, South Africa is the most expensive when data is concerned.
And while it is still an expensive commodity in our world, first world countries, it's nothing for them. But for us, it is still a serious cost attached to it. But our entire environment kind of now lives in it. And I don't see that going away in a hurry, which is a whole mind shift for everybody.
It's interesting to see how this is evolving, how digital transformation is changing, and how these priorities have shifted. And hopefully we will have many more of these conversations as we start building this future. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is James Francis. I was your host today for this ITWeb Brainstorm and Oracle Roundtable. And please enjoy the rest of your afternoon and your week. Thank you.